2004. The Tennessee football season was a season of two surprises, only to be marked by a cruel dose of reality. The team leaders set aim. Unknown names became household, and there was a fresh outlook on the banks of the Tennessee River. Philip Fulmer's squad kept finding ways to bring home victories, but most of all, a team was formed by 9 wins, 2 losses, key injuries, some heroes. It was a season full of hope, with one goal: to win an SEC championship. On September 5th, in front of the 3rd largest crowd to see a game at Neyland Stadium, the Tennessee Volunteers honored the past by welcoming back former Letterman and wearing the Bill Battle-inspired uniforms from the early 1970s. Though the weekend had a turn-back-the-clock feel, the crowd was abuzz about a pair of 18-year-olds who were running through the tee for the first time. True freshman quarterbacks Brent Schaefer and Eric Ainge took center stage, as Schaefer became the first true QB to start for an SEC team since 1945.
Welcome to the 2004 football season. The Rebels approach the football, and it's football time at Tennessee.
On just the second series of the game, the Florida native showed the 108,000 on hand that the future was now.
Schaefer operates out of the shotgun on 3rd down and 8. Here's the blitz. Schaefer, quarterback draw to the 15. Schaefer to the 10, and he's knocked down as he gets to the 6-yard line. Wow, can he motor?
With those 14 yards, the ice was broken and Schaefer was in command. The Vols then faced a 3rd and goal situation, and Schaefer did his best to honor the past by making all that were watching think back to the original number 7 wearing the Tennessee two-tone jersey, Condridge Holloway.
Schaefer under center, waits for the snap, gets it, hands off, tailback, no, he keeps it, rolls right, Schaefer looking for the end zone, he gets there, makes a nice cut, he made 3 Rebels miss him as he cut back to the inside and dances into the checkerboard for his first touchdown as a Tennessee Volunteers. First, a brilliant fake, and then he rolls right, he left 3 Rebels in their tracks.
First time anybody's going to compare him to Condridge Holloway, but it really did look like old number 7.
The Vols went up 7-3, and then it was Eric Ainge's turn to continue the freshman showcase. The 6'6" Oregon native had a different approach for leading the Vol offense into the checkerboard end zone.
Ainge now back under center, waits for the snap, gets it, 3-step drop, fires long down the near sideline, the pass complete at the 20-yard line to C.J. Payton. Touchdown, Tennessee, as Payton takes it all the way to the checkerboard. Ainge checks off, Payton runs the fly down the near sideline. Ainge just lobs it out there. Payton catches in stride and goes in for a Tennessee touchdown. So both freshman quarterbacks get Tennessee into the end zone. Schaefer runs one in, and Eric Ainge throws one to C.J. Payton.
The offensive attack did not stop there, as Gerald Riggs Jr. asserted the Tennessee ground game and added 6 more points from 3 yards out, giving the Vols a 21-3 halftime lead. But Schaefer would waste little time in the second half, getting the Volunteers on the scoreboard once again.
Schaefer waits for the snap, he'll roll right. The lefty turns his body, looking to uncork it. He does, fires down the sideline, complete to the 40, and out of bounds at the 45-yard line, Tony Brown. 1st and 10 at the 45-yard line. Handoff, tailback, Riggs breaks a tackle, goes down the right sideline and rolled out of bounds inside the 35-yard line. 1st and 10 at the 35. Schaefer fires left sideline, perfect throw, down to the 5, checkerboards, touchdown to Robert Meacham. Meacham caught it right in stride behind the cornerback, and Tennessee has another touchdown. It's 27-3.
The 35-yard touchdown catch gave redshirt freshman Robert Meacham his first Tennessee touchdown, and more importantly proved that Schaefer could get the job done with his arm as well as his legs. Not to be outdone, Ainge answered right back with an impressive 13-play, 82-yard drive that culminated with a 3-yard touchdown pass from Ainge to senior captain Tony Brown.
3rd down and goal from the 3. Ainge, quick step, fires for the end zone. The lob pass, perfectly thrown. Touchdown, Tennessee, to Tony Brown. Ainge threw that ball for the left hash mark into the right corner of the end zone. He couldn't have laid it out there any better. Tony Brown right in stride. Perfect throw. Another touchdown for Eric Ainge, and Tennessee leads it 34-10. What a drive.
Senior tailback Corey Larkins capped off an impressive offensive showing with a 23-yard touchdown scamper in the fourth quarter. The Vols rolled up 513 yards of total offense en route to the 42-17 victory. Brent Schaefer finished the night completing 7 of 10 passes for 123 yards and accounting for 2 touchdowns. Ainge ended with 118 yards and 2 touchdowns while completing 10 of 17 throws. Not bad for a couple of guys just months removed from their senior prom. Now all that awaited them was the start of the SEC season and the Florida Gators. Every year, the early matchup between Tennessee and the Florida Gators is a tempo setter for the season. When these two programs collide, much is at stake. Normally, the winner will represent the SEC East come early December in Atlanta. The game has also provided much excitement in recent years. Recruits across America come to Tennessee to become football players. But have a big day in the Florida game, and you can become a legend. Like in '98 when Deion Grant had an amazing one-handed pick across the middle, which has been called the biggest play in that memorable year. Or how about Travis Stevens' 226 rushing yards in 2001 to give the Vols their first win in Florida in more than 30 years and secure a ticket to the SEC championship game. The game has come down to inches or by the mere judgment of an official. And then the foot of a kicker has written history in this Volunteer Gator series.
The game. Snap. The kick is in the air, and the kick this time is no, sir-ree. No, sir-ree. Final score, Tennessee 20, Florida 17. Pandemonium reigns.
Nothing less was expected in 2004. The largest crowd in Tennessee history was on hand. 109,000 filled Neyland Stadium to watch what would become a classic.
Now the T forms and opens, and ladies and gentlemen, here come the Tennessee Volunteers.
A fumble would give the ball to Florida early in the first quarter, and they would capitalize on it going ahead first. 7-0 on a 5-yard strike from Chris Leak to O.J. Small. The Tennessee offense wouldn't hang their heads. The Vols would march down the field 80 yards behind the efforts of a determined offensive line and a rejuvenated running game.
Schaefer under center, gets the snap, hands to Davis, dives into the checkerboards. Over right guard, touchdown Tennessee.
With the score tied, it was the Gators' turn. Chris Leak had his team moving down the field when Tennessee's safety, Jason Allen, intercepted the sophomore's deep ball.
Blitz. Here's the snap. Leak back to throw. Looking. Firing long left sideline. The pass is going to be intercepted down at the 20-yard line. Jason Allen. Allen makes the play. Running stride for stride with a wideout, Andre Caldwell. And Allen makes a big, big play. Timed it perfectly and made the interception down at the 20-yard line.
Jason Allen finished the night with 14 tackles and a sack to go along with that interception. Eric Ainge then made his entrance and took the Vols down the field. On play number 7 of the drive, the freshman QB would get a chance to show his versatility and his arm strength.
Man in motion, Tinsley across the formation, right to left, handoff. Nope, Ainge fakes it, rolls out left, fires, it's going to be complete, down to the end zone, touchdown, Justin Reed! Reed, the tight end, comes across to the corner, the far side, makes the catch, and the Florida native right at the pylon. Somersaults in for his first catch, his first touchdown.
Tennessee would get their first lead of the night, 14-7, but that wouldn't last long. The Gators would tie the game back up at 14 when Chris Leak found Jamal Cornelius on a 9-yard pass, completing a 97-yard drive. The momentum would continue after an Ainge interception. Florida's Deshaun Wynn would score from 1 yard out, giving the Gators the lead going into the half, 21-14. Both defenses would settle down in the second half. The anchor for the Vols was senior linebacker Kevin Burnett, who had 16 tackles for the game. Defensive tackle Jessee Mahelona would come up with a big sack as the Vols were starting to slow leak in Florida's offense down. Tennessee would have some luck come their way in the third quarter when Florida's Matt Leach would line up for a 21-yard field goal attempt.
This is just basically an extra point from the left hash mark. Snap down, kick is on the way, and the kick is... he missed it! Leach misses!
The Volunteers would start a drive on the 20 that would test Eric Ainge's playmaking ability, along with giving Coach Philip Fulmer a decision on a 4th and 1.
4th and an inch. Ainge gets under Jason Resper. Gets the snap, powers ahead. I don't know. They're going to give him a good mark there. They're going to mark it just over the 30. He needed an inch. He got about 5 inches.
That first down gave the Vols all the confidence they would need. The Big Orange offense proceeded to carve up the Gator defense, running it, passing it, running it. Then the Tennessee QB delivered a pass right on the money.
3 wideouts to the right. He rolls right. Looking, still on the move, firing the ball for the end zone. It's going to be complete for a Tennessee touchdown. Complete to Brett Smith. Ainge rolling right. Throw a bullet down the sideline. Smith caught it right at the pylon. A Gator defensive back went flying in front, but couldn't get there in time. Brett Smith gets the touchdown, and Tennessee is pulled within 1.
So with the game knotted back up at 21, fans on both sides waited to see which team was going to strike next. That answer would be in the form of an 81-yard pass to Florida's Chad Jackson. The ball made it into the hands of Jackson right after Tennessee's Brandon Johnson tipped it, 1 step too late. Gators 28, Tennessee 21. In the fourth quarter, Philip Fulmer stayed with the hot hand in quarterback Eric Ainge, and with 7:42 left in the game, Tennessee found themselves in a must-score situation.
Florida's 6-man front. Here they come. Ainge sets up the screen. He's got to play. They throw the ball to the right side. It's complete to Chris Hannon, and Hannon's got a first down out to midfield.
On 3rd and 6, Ainge's pass fell incomplete to Derek Tinsley, and the Vols would be faced with a long 6 yards for the first down. Fulmer didn't hesitate and kept his offense on the field.
Ainge out of the shotgun. 2 to the left, 1 to the right. His wide receivers. Waits for the snap, gets it, back to throw. Ainge has some time. Ainge fires the ball long. It's complete. Down to the 20-yard line to Tony Brown. Brown knocked out at the 15. What a big-time throw by the freshman. Right on target to Tony Brown, and Tennessee has a first down at the 15-yard line.
It was a welcomed 24 more yards than needed. 2 plays later, on 3rd and 8, Ainge needed one of those talented receivers to step up again. Jason Swain volunteered.
On 3rd down and a long 7, Ainge gets the snap. Looks, fires the slant pattern, complete. Jason Swain breaks a tackle to the 5. He's close to the end zone. Touchdown, Tennessee! Jason Swain coming across the middle, caught the pass, and then made a beeline for the end zone. He was hit, just barely made it to the goal line, and Tennessee scores.
Swain's plunge into pay dirt made the score 28-27. All the Vols needed was the extra point to tie.
His 3rd touchdown of the night. Wilhoit on to try the extra point.
He missed it.
And he missed it to the right. James Wilhoit has missed the extra point.
The Big Orange Nation was in shock. Wilhoit had hit 50 consecutive extra points until the ball went wide right. The chill of the mid-September air was felt throughout the crowd. Another cruel lesson that nothing is a given in athletics. With 3:25 left in regulation, Florida would be in control of the game, and all they had to do was run the clock out. The Gators got a first down on 2 plays, and with 2 minutes and 2 seconds on the clock, called a timeout, and they continued to count on their ground game to keep the clock running.
Leak under center, Tennessee, 10 men on the line of scrimmage. Handoff up the middle, nothing for Wynn. He'll be short. It'll be 4th down, and Tennessee's going to get the ball back.
Parys Haralson and Kevin Burnett's stop for no gain was just what the Vols needed. And with a personal foul called against Florida's Dallas Baker, the Gators had to punt on 4th and 18, giving the Vols and James Wilhoit new life. Eric Ainge would have just 43 seconds to get the Vols into scoring position, and on 2nd and 10, he got the big play.
2nd down and 10, the ball at the 39-yard line. Ainge gets the snap, back to throw, has some time, being pressured, gets away from one man, fires over the middle, that's complete to Hannon. Hannon gets down to the 40-yard line. 30 seconds to go, they'll stop the clock to move the chains. Tennessee's got to get about 10 more yards. 28-27 Gators. Tennessee 2nd down and 10 at the 40-yard line. You know the Gators want to come after Ainge. There's the snap, here they come. Ainge, quick step, pass complete, down to the 32-yard line, but the clock runs. 23 seconds, 22 seconds. Tennessee trying to get to the line of scrimmage to stop it. This will be a 3rd down play. 15 seconds, 14, Ainge snaps it and then spikes it.
Ainge would end the night 16 of 24 with 192 yards and 3 touchdowns, but more importantly, got the field goal unit back on the field, and redemption was on the mind of James Wilhoit. His attempt would be a mere chip shot, just 50 yards out.
James Wilhoit to win it for the Volunteers. Waiting for the snap, Henderson to hold. There it is, kick on the way. The kick is long and high and spinning. Good! Wilhoit! Wilhoit hits from 50 yards out, and Tennessee leads 30-28. He has redeemed himself in a large way. Wilhoit drills a 50-yard field goal, and Tennessee leads 30-28.
Has there ever been a GOAT to hero shot like that? He missed an extra point and made a 50-yarder. Incredible.
It was another classic Tennessee-Florida game, once again coming down to the wire and producing a cast of heroes that would be remembered for their efforts on that victorious night.
That was a hell of an effort. Careful, toughness. Way to go, team! Larry, help me. Justin Reed! Chris Hammond! Where you at, Chris? Chris Hammond, don't miss it! How about James Wilhoit?
September 25th saw Neyland Stadium play host to the Louisiana Tech Bulldogs. The Vols were hoping not to fall into a lull after that emotional win against the Florida Gators just 1 week prior. It was homecoming, a break in SEC action, and the Bulldogs were bringing a running game carried on the shoulders of Ryan Moats, one of the best running backs in the country. The ground attack would play a factor in this one, and to the delight of Vol fans. Both teams started the game having to punt on their first 2 possessions, and the lull that was expected began to poke out its eerie head. Louisiana Tech would manage to score a touchdown on a 33-yard pass when wide receiver Julius Cosby avoided the Tennessee secondary and ended a 97-yard drive. Eric Ainge would make his first appearance of the game. With Tech thinking about the QB's arm, they forgot about Cedric Houston's legs.
And he'll operate 1st and 10 at the 27-yard line. Hand off to his tailback, Cedric Houston, over right tackle. Houston still on his feet to the 40. Houston trying to outrun Louisiana Tech. They catch him, knock him out of bounds at the 37-yard line. Lee Johnson finally does that. Hole on the right side of the Tech defensive line. Another handoff up the middle to Houston, picking his way down to the 20, down to the 10, to the 5, to the checkerboard. Touchdown, Cedric Houston, as Tennessee comes back, lickety-split.
The drive only took 2 plays, and the Vols had tied it up at 7. Houston was averaging 36.5 yards a carry. Louisiana Tech's weapon, Ryan Moats, would want to join in the fun of the run. He would pick up 37 yards in one play, getting the Bulldogs the lead once again. Tennessee's tailback Gerald Riggs Jr. would get the Vols on the comeback. A 19-yard run, 13 more here, and 15 more there would get the Vols to Tech's 13. Eric Ainge would top off the drive with another one of his pinpoint passes.
Lunch package. Ainge rolls that way. Ainge fires for the end zone. The pass is going to be... Is he inbounds? Touchdown! He sure is! In the back of the end zone, C.J. Phaeton goes high for the catch. Somehow got a foot down as he was flying out of bounds in the back corner of the end zone.
Life was injected into the Big Orange after Phaeton's reception. Tennessee would show their muscle and start to take complete control. Freshman Eric Ainge would continue to electrify the nation, racking up passing yards and throwing touchdowns. His second delivery to the end zone came after hitting Brett Smith on a 60-yard pass. The Vols went up 21-14. Tennessee's linebacker Omar Gaither would be in the right place on a Tech 2nd and 10.
From the Tennessee 43-yard line. Kubik back to throw. Here's the blitz. Inside screen. Incomplete. Intercepted, was it? Yes, it was. They tried the screen, and somehow getting to the football was Omar Gaither.
Tennessee's offense would score off the Gaither interception. Cedric Houston would get the opportunity for his second touchdown of the night. 28-14 going into the second half, and the Vols would keep putting points on the board. Eric Ainge would find Brett Smith again on a 4-yard strike. It would be Ainge's third touchdown of the game, giving him 8 touchdowns in 3 games. He was impressive, finishing with 198 yards and completing 10 of 15 passes. The scoring would conclude after Brent Schaefer connected with wide receiver Robert Meacham down the sideline, giving the Vols the winning score 42-17. The homecoming win would prove to be a welcome return to a complete showing of dominance by the Tennessee running game. Gerald Riggs Jr. rushed for a career-high 116 yards, and Cedric Houston finished with 2 touchdowns and totaling 160 yards. This was the first time that Tennessee would have 2 backs rush for 100 yards each since 1994, when James Stewart and Jay Graham ran over the century mark. As a team, 347 rushing yards were totaled, giving the Vols a 3-0 start in the 2004 season.
There's a lot of individual efforts here. We always play as a team, okay, but there's some great things happening. Cedric Houston, Gerald Riggs. Cedric Houston had 160 yards, 2 touchdowns. Gerald Riggs, 116 yards.
Number 8 Tennessee would head back into SEC action the following week against the number 9 Auburn Tigers. The atmosphere was electric, but the Vols wouldn't be able to find a spark on that night. Auburn had everything going right and handed the Tennessee freshman quarterbacks a game to learn from. Tennessee would get on the board when James Wilhoit lined up for a 41-yard field goal.
Waiting for the snap. There it is. Wilhoit approaches, boots it high, long, and true, and Tennessee's on the board.
Tennessee's defensive back Rashawn Fellows would pick up an interception, and linebacker Jason Mitchell grabbed a highlight when he found his way into the backfield. In the fourth quarter, Tennessee would get a boost from Gerald Riggs Jr. after he picked up 26 yards on the ground, getting the Vols into scoring position, down to the Auburn 2-yard line.
Ainge floods it, throws the pass into the end zone, touchdown to Corey Anderson.
The Volunteers would fall 34-10 to Auburn in this top 10 contest, and the young quarterbacks wouldn't get a break. The next week, Tennessee would head to Georgia for their first road game of the year. A lot of unknowns surrounded the Tennessee camp going into Game 5 of the season. After the loss to Auburn, Philip Fulmer would have 1 week to prepare his squad to take on the number 3 ranked team in the nation, the Georgia Bulldogs. This would be a huge task for the Vols, to go on the road with freshman quarterbacks and beat a team who just 1 week earlier defeated the national champions LSU 45-16. Tennessee would be 12.5-point underdogs, with no one on the local or national media stage believing an upset was possible. Now, if you're a historian, then you know you can never count out a Volunteer on the road when the foreshadowing of victory looks bleak.
Glad you're with us wherever you're listening as Tennessee and Georgia get set to renew this rivalry. Waiting for the whistle. Everybody stands, and now, ladies and gentlemen, it's football time in Tennessee. The kick is a high spinner that Yancey will watch sail through the end zone, and Tennessee will take over 1st and 10 at its own 20-yard line.
The Vols' game plan was obvious from the start. Make the statement that they came between the hedges to play.
Ainge operates out of the shotgun. Georgia four-man front. Ainge gets the snap, rolls right, looks, firing the ball long down the right sideline. Man wide open. Derek Tinsley's got it down to the 40-yard line. Somebody didn't pick up Derek Tinsley in the slot. Ainge rolls right, and Tinsley was 15 yards behind the Georgia secondary.
Eric Ainge looked like a poised veteran instead of a freshman in his first road game. This was evident on a 4th and 1 in Georgia territory.
4th and less than a yard from the Georgia 33-yard line, and Tennessee is going for it with 12 minutes to go, first quarter. Gerald Riggs now at tailback on 4th and 1 in an I formation. Ainge fakes the rig, dumps it in the flat to the fullback, Corey Anderson. Anderson's got it and rumbling out of bounds for a first down. Down inside the 25-yard line. They fake to the tailback, dumped it out to Corey Anderson. He picks up big yardage around right end, and Tennessee has a first down as Greg Blue knocks him out of bounds.
3 plays later, Ainge would hit Brett Smith to give the Vols the first score of the game.
This crowd just roaring now. Ainge under center on 3rd and 8. 3-step drop. Looks, fires the ball for the end zone. The pass is going to be there. Touchdown. Back of the end zone. Brett Smith. Ainge just saw Smith rolling down the middle of the field. He just lobbed it up. Brett Smith caught it in the back of the end zone, right under the goalpost, and Tennessee scores on its opening drive. What a brilliant throw from Eric Ainge.
With the Vols up 7-0, Georgia's high-powered offense and Heisman hopeful David Green took center stage, but the Tennessee defense would make their own statement. 3 and out for the Bulldogs.
There's the snap. It's a good one, and Kelso gets it out of there. Hangs it high. Hefty's going to have a chance to return it. Catches his own 30. Looks for running room. Georgia back there in big hit. Knocks down Hefty. And so Tennessee will have it about at its own 30-yard line.
Gerald Riggs Jr. would help the Vols on their second possession, carrying the ball 5 times and picking up 31 yards on the ground. Those yards set up a James Wilhoit field goal attempt from 35 yards out.
Waiting for the snap. It's down, the kick on the way, and the kick is going to be right through the middle. And Tennessee has scored 10 first-quarter points and leads Georgia by a score of 10-0 with 2:22 to go in the first quarter.
On the defensive side, the Vols kept the pressure coming. Defensive tackle Jessee Mahelona would hit Georgia's running back Danny Ware for a loss. Defensive end Jason Hall would then come up big on 2nd and 11.
Green, play action on 2nd and 11. In the backfield, he's hit and sacked. Dropped. Good pressure. Jason Hall drops David Green. Only the 5th time he's been sacked all year, but they get him back at the 4-yard line.
Georgia would get on the board in the second quarter when backup quarterback DJ Shockley unloaded a 24-yard pass to Fred Gibson. After the extra point, the Vols found themselves up by 3. The Tennessee defense would force Georgia to punt with less than 6 minutes left in the half, and the Vols would work from Georgia's 49-yard line. Tailback Cedric Houston would pick up a first down on a 3-yard run, and Ainge would hit wide receiver Tony Brown with a perfect pass between 2 Bulldog defenders. Wilhoit would come on for his 3rd attempt of the game.
His career-long 51. They're going to say this is a 51-yard kick. Snap is down. Kick on the way, spinning toward the goalpost. This kick is going to be good by James Wilhoit. A 51-yard field goal. And so Tennessee expands the lead to 13-7 with 2:59 to go here in the second quarter.
The Bulldogs would have a drive brewing in the last few minutes of the first half until David Green was hunted down by 300 pounds of Hawaiian punch.
3rd down 6. Tennessee leads 13-7. Green back to throw, play action, pressured. Being back, and he's sacked back at the 41-yard line. Jessee Mahelona gets back there.
The sack would force Georgia to punt at the end of the first half. Vols 13, Georgia 7.
Way to go. This is UT defense right here. Way to go, boys.
Mahelona would have an encore at the start of the third quarter. With Georgia driving down to Tennessee's 31-yard line, the junior transfer forced Green into an intentional grounding call and a 12-yard loss for his second sack on the night. The rest of the third quarter saw both teams miss field goals, and good defense held the offenses in check. Late in the quarter, Georgia went into the old bag of tricks to try and jumpstart their offense.
13-7, Volunteers lead, 3:01 to go in the third. Georgia a fake punt, and they're not going to make it. They snap it to the up back. Georgia goes for the fake punt, and they don't make it. And Kevin Burnett actually comes out of there with the ball, and Tennessee has stopped Georgia. The Bulldogs try trickery, and it doesn't work, and Tennessee gets the ball back.
John Poe's hit was just the momentum to get the offense going. Cedric Houston got the ball moving on a 7-yard run. Derek Tinsley would pick up a first down from Ainge. Then Gerald Riggs would carry the load on 3 runs of 9, 2, and 14 yards. Riggs would finish the night with 103 yards. The drive was still alive at the end of the third quarter, and with the score 13-7, Eric Ainge looked for some sure hands to extend the Tennessee lead.
Backs in the I formation. 2 tight ends. Ainge under center on 2nd and goal for the 4. Ainge rolls out right, looks, fires for the end zone, lobs it up there. The pass is going to be touchdown. Touchdown, Tennessee. Chris Hannon on the right corner of the end zone. Hannon, as Ainge was buying time, rolls out right. Ainge lost the pass. Hannon catches it right up against the far sideline, keeps his feet in bounds, and Tennessee scores.
Hannah's instincts allowed the Vols to go up 19-7 in the fourth quarter, and the talk of an upset was beginning to spread through the country. Georgia wouldn't go away so easy. After Tennessee missed its 3rd field goal of the night, the Bulldogs' Danny Ware would get the home team closer when he busted a 1-yard run for a score. Tennessee 19, Georgia 14. Georgia stopped Tennessee and forced them to punt. So with 2 minutes and 12 seconds left in the game, Vol fans were starting to remember David Green's heroics 3 years prior, when he drove Georgia down the field to beat Tennessee in less time than he had in 2004. Green got the Dogs moving, collecting 4 first downs and using their final timeout.
3rd down and 10 from the 40-yard line. Green back to throw. Green sets up, fires the pass. It's complete. Complete to Fred Gibson. Gibson breaks a tackle down to the 20. Gibson's going to be knocked out of bounds with 1 second to go on the clock. 1 second left is what they say. Fred Gibson made the catch, tried to break a tackle, and he almost ran the clock out. He gets down inside the Tennessee 20-yard line. Georgia will have 1 snap left with 1 second on the clock. 1st and 10, Georgia. Tennessee leads 19-14. The ball at the 18-yard line. Green's got to throw for the end zone with 1 second left to go. Gets the snap. Green back to throw. Pressured. Fires for the end zone. The pass is knocked away. Intercepted. The game is over. Tennessee has won. Tennessee has defeated the Georgia Bulldogs. And the Volunteers win 19-14 between the hedges. The 4-game losing streak to Georgia is over. Tennessee has won, and the Volunteers now are back in a first-place tie in the SEC East and control their own destiny the rest of the way out.
Tennessee had pulled off the shocker, going on the road and defeating the number 3 team in the nation, proving once again, never underestimate the determination of the Tennessee Volunteers.
With one purpose, to come down here and get it done, 4 quarters, 60 minutes. That's right. Way to keep it going, baby. I am so proud of you as a football team. I'm proud of the staff that are fighting and got. It's not what you did tonight that counts. You'll enjoy it tonight. They'll tell you how good you are. Keep on working. Nobody take us to win. Keep working to get better. Every day.
They've heard it once or twice, but it just feels funny.
The Volunteers wouldn't need to unpack their travel bags after the big win at Georgia. Tennessee would head south to play the Ole Miss Rebels the following week. This would be the first time since 1988 that the Vols played down in Oxford. But more importantly, with 6 games left in the 2004 season, the Big Orange was sitting in the catbird seat in the SEC East. The 9 o'clock ESPN game didn't affect the offense in the beginning for this one. The Vols took the opening kickoff and proceeded to march down the turf. Gerald Riggs picked up a quick 13 yards on the first 3 plays to get the ball moving. 2 plays later, Riggs stormed 24 yards to the Ole Miss 33. Eric Ainge then would air it out to a wide-open Tony Brown, whose momentum would force him out of bounds just 2 yards short from scoring. So from the 1, bring on the goal line specialist. Jabari Davis leaped in for the Vols' first score. 7-0, and Tennessee wasn't done. The defense would play big roles all night. And on 3rd and 7, Rebels quarterback Ethan Flatt was picked off by Brandon Johnson. That turnover set up the Vols' second score of the night. It would also bring on a pass from Dustin Colquitt. The All-American would fake the punt on 4th and 7, hitting Chris Hannon for the first down. Ole Miss was stunned, and the Vols would be headed to the end zone. Gerald Riggs would tack on 6 more with a 21-yard scamper. Tennessee would go up 14-0, and then what looked to be an offensive explosion saw the wheels fall off. Ainge and the offense would be held scoreless till midway in the 4th quarter. In that span, Ole Miss managed to score 2 touchdowns and kick a field goal to put the Rebels up by 3. With Tennessee's offense going cold early in the game, the defense picked up the slack. Mississippi native Parys Haralson would pad his stats, collecting 2 sacks and totaling 10 tackles on the night. Brandon Johnson would collect 2 picks. Kevin Burnett and Jason Mitchell each would get to the quarterback for a sack apiece. The defense did all they could to make up for the mistakes being made on special teams and by the squandering offense. Ole Miss took advantage of the mishaps, and they were leading with 11 minutes to go in the 4th quarter. Ainge would need to answer to get the lead back. That spark was a 39-yard bomb to wide receiver Robert Meacham. The redshirt freshman, however, would be called for stepping out of bounds, to the dismay of Coach Fulmer and the rest of the Big Orange faithful. Ainge would overcome, though. 2 plays later, receiver Brett Smith would lay out to make a 2-handed catch for a 30-yard touchdown. The Vols hit the extra point to give them a 21-17 lead. That score would stand, and Tennessee would sneak out of the Grove with the win and keep control of their own destiny in the East. 2 road trips, 2 wins would get the Vols halfway in the season with a 5-1 record and set the stage for the annual October Showdown. Tennessee, Alabama. To anyone who grew up in the Southeast, hearing these 2 words will either elevate your spirits or ruin your mood faster than saying the Bear. The outcome of your feelings depends on the result of this annual rival game. Another one of those gut checks occurred on October 23rd at Neyland Stadium. The 11th-ranked Volunteers would welcome the Tide into Knoxville.
All we need now is the whistle from the referee, and we'll start play here. Tennessee and Alabama. And this is the 87th meeting between these longtime great rivals. Will Hoyt waits for the whistle. There it is, and ladies and gentlemen, it is football time in Tennessee. Will Hoyt nails a line drive that's going to skip into the end zone. It'll be fielded back there by Brandon Brooks. He'll down it, and Alabama will start 1st and 10 at its own 20-yard line.
Alabama would get the ball first in this contest, and on the second play of their drive, Tennessee's Turk McBride would help the defense accomplish a first for the year, a defensive touchdown.
2nd down and 5, Alabama. From the Crimson Tide, 25-yard line. 2 tight ends. Handoff. It's deflected in the backfield. Picked up. It's going to be running for a touchdown by Parys Haralson. 18 yards as Haralson scoops up the fumble. Tennessee got penetration, messed up the handoff in the backfield. Haralson right there to scoop it up and race in for the first score. And in 45 seconds of the game, Tennessee has jumped in front 6-0 on a defensive turnover.
Haralson's 18-yard gift was a boost for the defense, one that would prove to be huge when the zeros hit in the fourth quarter. Now, Alabama's defense came in as one of the best in the nation, and on Tennessee's second possession, the Tide proved their defensive hype. Eric Ainge would be picked off by D'Amico Ryans, setting up a Tim Castile 2-yard touchdown, tying the game at 7. Alabama would get the lead at the beginning of the second quarter on a 34-yard field goal from Brian Bostic. Down by 3, the Vols defense wouldn't be outdone, stopping an Alabama drive and forcing a punt to Derek Tinsley, who was eagerly awaiting the pigskin to fall.
Low spiral. Tinsley catches it at his 25-yard line, breaks the first tackle. He's in the middle. He's got running room. Tinsley makes a move on the punter, makes another cutback. He's got some blockers. Tinsley to the 30, and Tinsley is taken out at the 28-yard line. Derek Tinsley with a great return as he weaves his way through the Alabama defense, and finally Andrews makes the play and puts him down.
The senior's return to Alabama's 29 would set up the Ainge to Swain show. The Vols signal caller would hit wide receiver Jason Swain on 2 passes, the first for 10 yards, the next would be for 19.
And now Ainge back to throw. Ainge sets, fires the cross, the middle complete. That's a touchdown to Jason Swain. Eric Ainge checks off, sees Swain from the left side, running the post pattern, and Eric Ainge got it right in between the safeties. Perfect throw.
Tennessee led 14-10 with 6 minutes and 40 seconds left in the second quarter. Alabama would threaten towards the end of the half, but defensive tackle Turk McBride would make a key play to stall the Crimson Tide effort. The half would end and Tennessee would head to the locker with a 14-10 lead. The Vols would get the ball at the start of the third quarter, and the offense, looking to make some adjustments at half, came out firing. Ainge would hit Tony Brown for a 17-yard gain. Then he unleashed a 37-yard bomb to who else? Jason Swain. The Alabama native would end the night with 80 yards and a touchdown. James Wilhoit would come on to try and extend the Vols' lead.
Waits for the snap. John Henderson to put it down. He does. There's the kick on the way, spinning for the end zone. That kick is going to be good. James Wilhoit makes it a 7-point game as he boots home a 40-yard field goal. And so Tennessee scores on its opening possession in the third quarter.
Tennessee was up by 7 heading into the fourth quarter. Alabama then would cut it to 4 when Bostic hit a 47-yarder. With 6:26 left in the game, Tennessee would go 3 and out, giving Alabama a chance for the win. That's when Tennessee's defense really put on the pressure. Kevin Burnett would hit Alabama's tailback for a 3-yard loss. Omar Gaither would knock Kenneth Darby back for another 3 yards. That set up a 4th and 6 for the Tide's offense.
Play of the ball game, at least to this point.
This is loud as the crowd's been all day. 4th down and 6. Under 2 minutes to go, and Tennessee leading 17-13. Bama from its own 47-yard line. Tennessee showing blitz. Here they come. Pennington back to throw. Airs it out long, left sideline, incomplete. Intended for pro throw. There's a penalty flag down. Penalty flag down back in the Alabama backfield at the 35-yard line. It could be roughing the passer.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, number 98 on the defense. 15-yard penalty and a first down.
Parys Haralson roughing the passer keeps the Alabama drive alive.
Alabama would get a new set of downs on Haralson's penalty. So, with new life, Alabama's first play would go for a loss of 3 yards. Then, on 2nd and 13, the drama would unfold.
2nd and 12 from the Tennessee 40-yard line. Pennington back to throw. Pennington fires the ball for the end zone. It's intercepted down at the 15-yard line. Intercepted by Corey Campbell. Pennington throwing into coverage, and the pass is picked off. Campbell, his 2nd interception of the year. It was intended for Keith Brown, and Tennessee's defense comes up with a turnover at the 15-yard line. The 2nd turnover of the game, and that could seal it for Tennessee.
Tennessee would then run the clock out, and in doing so, end another chapter in this heated rivalry.
17 seconds to go. Coach Fulmer just got the shower, the cooler dumped on him in celebration of his 10th win against the Crimson Tide. 10 seconds to go, 8 seconds to go. Ainge has got to snap it one more time. He'll do it with 1 second on the clock. 3 seconds, 2 seconds. There's the snap. There's the victory. Tennessee beats Alabama 17-13 here at Neyland Stadium as Tennessee moves to 6-1 overall, 4-1 in the SEC.
There's a lot of game balls to go around. I'm proud of you guys. You don't know how big it is. You'll only understand that the older you get. Okay, how big it is when you can beat Alabama year in and year out like you guys have been able to do.
On October 30th, the 11th-ranked Tennessee Volunteers headed to Columbia, South Carolina for the 8th game of the 2004 season. The Vols, 6-1, were still in control of the SEC East with 3 conference games left to play. A South Carolina Gamecock upset would make them bowl eligible. Tennessee composed their own concoction and resembled more like a version of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde on this day. Good thing the aftertaste was better than the solution they drank at the beginning of this one. The Vols' sluggish first half would see South Carolina jump out to an 8-0 lead on a safety and 2 Josh Brown field goals. With the Vols misfiring, they needed a spark. So with 2:58 left in the first half, quarterback Brent Schaefer got the offense going. The mixture of number 7 and a little dose of Eric Ainge saw the Big Orange come out of a spell they seemed to be under.
A first and goal at the 6, and Tennessee holds it to no points. Schaefer going to roll to the near side. Schaefer fires the out pattern, and it's complete at the 30-yard line. Inside handoff and some running room up the middle, and still on his feet is Gerald Riggs on 3rd down and 2. Carolina with a 4-man front, linebackers up close snug. Ainge 3-step drop, looks, nobody open. Ainge being pressured. Ainge throws the ball, shuffles it off to his running back, and trying to make a play, and getting the first down is Gerald Riggs. Out of the shotgun, Schaefer gets the snap, rolls to the near side, looking, pumps, still looks, fires the ball long downfield. That pass is going to be... Did he catch it? I think he did. He did at the 21-yard line. C.J. Phaeton.
Schaefer's boost got the Vols to the South Carolina 21. And from there, Ainge finished off the drive, hitting an unmanned surprise for 6.
Ainge goes under center, backs in the I formation. Ainge play fake, looks over the middle, fires the ball, lobs it for the end zone. Man wide open. Touchdown, Tennessee. The fullback, David Holbert.
Holbert's first touchdown of the year made the score 8-6 South Carolina. Philip Fulmer didn't hesitate. The Vols had momentum and the legs of Schaefer.
With Schaefer on the 2-point play. Schaefer gets the snap. Schaefer, quarterback draw. Schaefer to the 5. He's going to walk in for 2, and Tennessee has tied the game at 8-8. Brent Schaefer on the called quarterback draw. Sent everybody to the left. He went right and just skips in untouched. And what a deflating turn of events for this Carolina crowd, and a huge lift for Tennessee with 30 seconds left. It's now an 8-8 game.
The Vols would gladly take momentum and a tie ball game into the locker room. And whatever ailed Tennessee in the first half was out of their system by the time the second half got underway.
1st and 10 at the 20. Schaefer under center, handoff, tailback, trying to get some room. Breaking a tackle is Cedric Houston. Houston in the open field. Houston the midfield. Houston now down to the 40, to the 30, and taken down at the 28-yard line. Showing blitz. Snap to Ainge, back to throw. Fires over the middle. That pass is going to be complete. Right on target. Touchdown, Tennessee, to Chris Hannon.
The Vols would take a 15-8 lead and never look back. The next offensive series entailed gloom. Brent Schaefer would take a hit that would break his clavicle. Schaefer was out of the game with his shoulder in a sling. Later in the third quarter, Ainge would pick up the offense. It only took one shot to get the ball in the end zone when he hit Chris Brown for his first TD of the season. Tennessee 22, South Carolina 8. The Vols kept pouring it on, and Cedric Houston would be a factor on this drive.
I formation, handoff tailback, trying to get some running room, popping to the outside is Houston. Houston on the gallop again, to midfield, to the 30. Cedric Houston to the 10, to the 5, and he's taken down at the 3-yard line. Cedric Houston finally caught by Fred Burnett. But Cedric Houston having a big, big day. Gallops 65 yards before he's taken down at the 3-yard line.
Houston would bust in for 6 on a 1-yard run. The senior ended the day rushing for a career-high 190 yards on 15 carries. The Vols went up 29-8. Omar Gaither's interception in the fourth quarter helped Tennessee get the ball back and allowed another first-timer to score.
Yancey getting a chance to run it. They'll give it to him up the middle. Yancey breaks a tackle to the 15, to the 5. Yancey's in the end zone. Touchdown, David Yancey.
There's another guy who earned his scholarship.
Right, what a thrill for Yancey. His first career touchdown, 23 yards out. And Tennessee now leads Carolina 35-15.
Tennessee would end the scoring onslaught when South Carolina lined up for an onside kick.
Tennessee has everybody up. 10 players now within 10 yards of the free kick line, the 45-yard line, and there's nobody deep. Bowers got an onside kick to the right. The kick goes high up in the air, and it's fielded by a Tennessee upback. Brett Smith racing down the sideline. Smith to the 5. Touchdown, Tennessee on the onside kick. It's a free ball, pops up in the air. Brett Smith just picks it out of the air and outruns the South Carolina cover team, and Tennessee has a score. Tennessee on the onside kick turns it the other way against South Carolina, and Smith scores.
The tale of two halves would see another W in the column for the Volunteers. A 43-29 victory was just another stepping stone to get to Atlanta. Tennessee would line up and play their 8th straight game the following week in Knoxville. The Vols were limping into Game 9. The squad was dealing with the everyday bumps and bruises, along with big injuries on the offensive line. Not to forget that Brent Schaefer was lost for 5 weeks with that broken clavicle. The challenge on this weekend would be a non-conference bout with legendary Notre Dame. The boys in orange would strike for 3 after James Wilhoit kicked a 30-yard field goal. In the second quarter, quarterback Eric Ainge hit Cedric Houston on a screen, and the highlight began.
Tennessee operates from its own 43-yard line now. Ainge back to throw, looking to set up the screen. Does so to Cedric Houston. Houston running to the 40-yard line, breaks a tackle. Houston breaks another one to the 20. Houston to the 10, to the 5, to the checkerboard. Touchdown, Tennessee!
Tennessee was up 10-7, but the story of this game was not what the Vols were hoping for. The unbelievable would happen with seconds ticking away at the end of the first half. Eric Ainge would suffer a dislocated shoulder after he was sacked. The Vols had lost their 2 freshman quarterbacks in as many weeks. Rick Clausen would come in to play quarterback. He was 10 of 18 for 120 yards, but a field goal was all Tennessee could muster in the second half. Notre Dame came away with a 17-13 victory. The Vols would have 2 weeks to rest and get ready for Vanderbilt. With 2 games left in the season, Tennessee traveled to Nashville on November 20th to play in-state foe the Vanderbilt Commodores. This contest was a little closer than Coach Philip Fulmer would have scripted. Rick Clausen got the start at quarterback, but running back Cedric Houston was the man on this day, scoring the first 3 touchdowns for the Vols, the first after Corey Larkins caused a Commodore fumble.
A single back is Cedric Houston. They'll try Houston at the middle. Big hole, and Houston dances into the end zone. Tennessee in 2 plays takes the score, and the Volunteers lead early by a score of 6-0. Clausen under center, handoff up the middle. Now popping to the outside is Cedric Houston, and he's in for a Tennessee touchdown. On 1st and goal, they'll try Houston up the middle. Houston spins to the 2, dives to the end zone. His 3rd touchdown of the day, and Tennessee expands the lead.
Tennessee was up 21-6. Clausen then got to show what he's capable of doing.
Clausen under center. Clausen back to throw. Looking. Fires over the middle. Right for the end zone. Touchdown Tennessee to Jason Swain. A bullet from Rick Clausen. And he hits Swain wide open in the middle of the Vanderbilt secondary. Right at the back of the end zone. Right in front of the goalpost. Great throw by Clausen. And Tennessee leads this 27-6.
Up by 22, the Big Orange couldn't afford a letdown. Vanderbilt scored twice before the half was up. The lead quickly evaporated 28-20. James Wilhoit added 3 points in the third quarter from 34 yards away. Later in the quarter, Rick Clausen called on Swain for the second time of the game.
Tennessee leading 31-20 as Clausen brings them up. Backs on the offset eye to the right. Two wideouts to the right, and Clausen drops to throw. Looks right, fires over the middle. It's going to be a touchdown, Tennessee. Jason Swain. Clausen looked him off and then found Swain cutting toward the goalpost in the back of the end zone. Clausen right on target for his second touchdown pass of the day. Clausen zipped that one.
Tennessee found themselves back up 38-20. The Doors would score 2 more touchdowns, but it would not be enough. The final score, 38-33. The victory would make Tennessee the SEC East champs and secure a rematch with the Auburn Tigers on December 4th in the SEC championship game. The Volunteers would still have one game left on the docket, a home meeting with the Kentucky Wildcats. The 2004 regular season came to a close on November 27th against the Kentucky Wildcats. 17 seniors ran through the tee for the final time. After a Kentucky field goal, Rick Clausen would guide the Vols down the field.
On 3rd down and 8, Clausen back to throw right over the middle. He's got his man wide open. That's going to be the tight end, Chris Brown. There's the bad snap, but Clausen picks it up. His out pattern is complete, and breaking a tackle down the near sideline is Brett Smith. Bunch pattern to the left. Now they send Phaeton in motion across the formation. They'll try Houston over right tackle. He's got running room inside the 25, down to the 22-yard line. As Tennessee has it 2nd down and 7 at the Kentucky 20-yard line. Clausen play fake. Here's the blitz. He fires for the end zone. The pass is going to be to Tony Brown, out of bounds at the half-yard line.
Brown would come up 1 yard shy, but Clausen would finish the drive.
In at tailback, but it'll be Clausen who'll sneak it across for a Tennessee touchdown. His first rushing touchdown as a Tennessee Volunteer.
The Vols would take a 7-3 lead, but Kentucky came back when Shane Boyd tossed a 20-yard touchdown pass. The Wildcat defense would score next when a pressured Clausen was intercepted by Ricky Abram. The Vols, now down by 10, would use their powerful fullback on a draw.
2nd down along 6. Handoff, fullback up the middle. Big hole, Corey Anderson. His first carry of the year goes for a Tennessee touchdown. Anderson from 22 yards out, right up the middle, and the big fullback rumbles into the checkerboards for a Tennessee touchdown.
The extra point was blocked. The score, 17-13, but James Wilhoit would get another chance, this time booting a 24-yard field goal. Tennessee still trailed 17-16. Kentucky wouldn't quit, but with 40 seconds to go in the first half, neither would Tennessee.
1st and 10 from the 47-yard line. Clausen back to throw, throws the ball down the right sideline. It is caught by C.J. Phaeton down at the 20-yard line. What a diving catch by Phaeton. Tennessee trailing 24-16. There's the snap. Clausen back to throw, fires over the middle. Meacham, touchdown, Tennessee! Great pass as Rick Clausen right on target to Meacham. The post pattern into the checkerboards for a Tennessee touchdown.
The start of the second half would see another James Wilhoit kick blocked, and the Wildcats would extend their lead. With 10 minutes and 30 seconds left in the fourth quarter and needing a spark, Philip Fulmer dipped into his bag of tricks.
Flood pattern, 3 to the left. Now they send a man in motion that way. Here's the bubble screen. Phaeton's going to throw it, tees it up, bombs it down the field. There's a man there. Pass complete down to the 20-yard line. And now running down to the 15 and taken out of the 12-yard line, Robert Meacham. C.J. Phaeton, a former quarterback in high school, came up on the end around and then threw to Meacham. The ball hung up a long time, but Meacham able to make the catch, and now Tennessee strikes with the trick play.
That would get the Vols going, and 2 plays later, wide receiver Tony Brown would make his senior day memorable.
on this second down play. Clausen play fake, rolls, fires for the end zone. The pass is going to be to Tony Brown. Touchdown to the far corner of the end zone. Clausen rolling right. Tony Brown got right to the pylon, and Clausen makes a great throw. Tennessee into the end zone.
Kentucky was still up by 2 and had the ball with time ticking away in the fourth quarter. But another senior would make one of the best plays of his career.
Kentucky 2 wideouts to the right, the wide side of the field. Boyd will send his tailback in motion to the left. And now Boyd drops to throw. Pressure, Boyd being pressured and sacked back at the 37-yard line. Carlton Neal gets in and brings him down.
The sack forced a punt, but the defense would be called on once again. After a job well done, it was up to the offense to reward the effort.
Clock is stopped, 2:32 to go. Here's Kentucky on the blitz. Clausen reads it, fires to the slot man. It's complete to Tony Brown. Brown down to the 20-yard line and taken down.
The senior wide receiver would put Tennessee in a position to win 20 straight against Kentucky. An underclassman would finish the job.
Clausen under center. Sends a man in motion across the formation. Tries Riggs up the middle. Riggs breaks a tackle and skips into the checkerboards. Touchdown right up the middle to Gerald Riggs. And Tennessee, with 38 seconds remaining, has put together a drive to give them the lead. 35-31 as Gerald Riggs pops it right behind the blocking of Rob Smith and Jason Respert and Richie Gandy right up the middle. And Tennessee has fought from behind in the fourth quarter and now has the lead back.
Tennessee won the game 37-31 and capped off a terrific season, ending 9-2 overall and 7-1 in the SEC. The Vols also won the SEC East, doing so for the 4th time in 8 years, which bodes well for the next generation.